Hey everybody, Mike Iaconelli here. Welcome to a brand new In the Shop, and we got a good one for you today. In today's shop video, we're going to be talking about my top 4 baits for the month of June. Guys, you know how we do it. We're going to give you 2 baits for the northern half of the country, let's say like Virginia North, and then we're going to give you 2 baits for the southern part of the country, the Carolinas, all the way down to Texas, Florida, Louisiana. Before I start talking about these baits, let's talk about the month of June. First things first, June 17th is my birthday. Happy birthday to me. Besides that, June really is, guys, the start of the summer period in bass fishing, okay? June is the month all over the country where it's going from that spring, late spring, early summer phase to actually turning into the beginning of summer. So June is a transition time. If we look at June up north, we're talking about a lot of fish that are in the last phases of the spawn. Many of the fish are post-spawn, guarding fry, starting to move to their summer places. And a lot of these fish are feeding back up, okay? The rigors of the spawn takes their toll. So these are fish up north in June that are getting ready to go to their summer places, but they're eating a lot of stuff. And in that mix, they eat a lot of bait fish, shad, herring, shiners. They're really feeding up, okay? So post-spawn, maybe a few straggler spawners, fish getting ready to move to their summer pattern. Now, the month of June down south, let's talk about the Carolinas, Georgia, Alabama, Texas, all those southern states. These fish are well into their summer movement. They're well into having already left the spawning coves, the spawning creeks, the places, those protected pockets where they were building nests. Guys, the fish in June down south, they're gone. They're heading to the ledges. They're heading to the main lake points. They're heading to their deep haunts where they're going to spend their summer. Okay, so month of June, summer's here. All right, let's get started, guys. I'm going to give you 2 baits for up north. And number 1, and this one I really thought long and hard about my June time frame up north. And this one was a candidate every time I close my eyes and think about baits that caught a lot of fish for me in June. And the answer is a fluke. A fluke, guys. A bigger minnow-style lure. And when I'm talking about a fluke, I'm talking about, you know, baits that are 4 to 6 inches. I love this standard size fluke. This is the Power Jerk Shad by Berkley. It's a 5-inch bait. But when you look at that bait, it's really indicative of that forage consumption that I told you about, okay? A lot of these lakes that have threadfin, alewife herring, blueback herring, small gizzard shad, minnows, those bait fish species are spawning after the bass are done spawning. So these are easy meals for those fish to recoup and gain that energy back, right? So I love flukes up north in the month of June. Now, primarily, guys, I can tell you that I fish a weightless Texas-style one when I'm fishing around a lot of heavy cover, okay? Vegetation, skipping under docks, lily pads, under brush, around standing timber. I love this one with a little barrel swivel, about a foot or 2 of fluorocarbon leader, and a 4 or 5 offset fusion hook, okay? And I love that because I can dart it. It looks real. And guys, it won't get snagged. But I also did want to mention the Fluke is just as good on a regular jig head. Guys, just a regular standard jig head, 1/8 ounce, 3/16 ounce. That's that Berkeley Fusion hybrid head. The one thing is when I fish this Fluke on a jig head, make sure it has a 90-degree line tie because that's going to allow that bait to stay balanced. But this is a good one if you're fishing open water. If you see fish schooling out there and there's not a lot of cover to snag on, it's a great presentation. Last but not least, guys, if you're fishing post-spawn fish up north and they're getting off of those spawning areas, a lot of times I call them zombies. A lot of times they get out there in that deeper water and they're suspended. Using that jig head Fluke in conjunction with forward-facing sonar is a great way to catch them in the month of June, okay? Number 1 bait in June, the Fluke for up north. Number 2, this was a tough one because I wanted to really incorporate a topwater into it. I love topwater fishing in the month of June. So very easily a walking bait, walking style bait could have been there. A popper style bait or whopper plopper, Chapo style bait could have been there. But I really wanted to change it and talk about the spinner bait. And the reason for that is in the month of June, the conditions can change very rapidly throughout the day. From calm to windy, from sunny to rainy. And because of that, I like the control aspect of a spinner bait. A lot of times in the month of June when the shad are spawning or the herring are spawning, I throw a spinner bait where I see those fish spawning. Early in the morning, cloudy days, it lasts longer, but around marinas, around riprap, around black floats on floating docks, anything those fish can lay their eggs, and they dispersion spawn. They just poop their eggs. So when you see the bait fish flipping and moving around, great presentation in the month of June. So I can fish it high and burn it like a topwater, or if I get the conditions where the fish are down in the water column, unlike a topwater, I can moderate retrieve this, I could slow roll it. But once again, fish in June up north, they're recovering, they want easy meals, they gotta regain that energy, and a spinner bait does a great job of imitating that, okay? Number 2 bait, month of June up north, spinner bait. And by the way, I really like the double willows, the tandem when it's stained, and then when it's really dirty, I'll go to Colorado's. But double willow in the month of June. By the way, Mullex water slash. All right, number 3, guys, now we're gonna go and switch to the southern states. We're gonna get now in the south. And you heard me say at the beginning of this video, June down south, these fish are well done to spawn. These fish are now fish that have moved already out of those shallow places where they were spawning. So now we're targeting deeper, more main lake, river ledge oriented fish. Fish that are going to the deeper haunts. And they go there because of the oxygen level is better, the bait fish are there, and that water is generally cooler in that deeper water, okay? So because of that, my number 3 pick for the month of June, and this shouldn't be a shock to anybody. When I look at some of the June ledge tournaments that I've had over the years, and I'm talking about lakes like Chickamauga, Gunnersville, Pickwick, Kentucky, Barkley, lakes where I'm fishing more river ledge, main lake oriented stuff. Dragging a football head jig is such a good way to catch the fish in June. A lot of those fish, when they start getting out in that deep water, they're getting on hard bottom areas. Guys, that could be a shell bed, it could be a gravel bar, it could be a stump row, It could be an area that's totally barren, but somebody planted a couple brush piles. There's usually harder targets in that deeper water. And there's nothing like dragging that really broad football head over and through that cover, especially if it's shell or gravel. Just what a phenomenal way. It almost army crawls through the cover. And you could see that right there on the head. So I like to maintain bottom contact. Jig size, 1/2 to 1 ounce. A 3/4 ounce is a great one, gets down quick. Color, brown, green pumpkin, peanut butter and jelly, black and blue. Really good color choices. And then, the last thing, guys, is I like the warmer the water, the more action I want on that football jig. So if I was fishing a football jig in the pre-spawn when the water's cold, I want a chunk. A chunk is fluid. But in June in the south, that water's getting hot. The water's 70 to 80 degrees. I want a double curl tail grub or a big action crawl on the back. So that's a crud crawl by Berkley Maxent. I'll put that thing on there. Just a perfect complement to your football jig. A lot of action in the back, okay? Now, before I go on to number 4, I did want to mention this. If you're watching this and you're saying, all right, I live in Florida or Louisiana, or I live in a place down south that doesn't necessarily have those deep main lake ledges. But if your lake has thick grass or grass in deep water, the alternative to that football jig in the month of June would be punching. Okay, so I did want to throw that out there. So you're watching in Florida or you're watching in Louisiana and deep water for you is 10 feet, but you have milfoil or hydrilla or matted lily pads. Just go punch. It's the same theory, right? They're trying to get deeper and thicker in that cover for oxygen, shade, and bait. So that's a great alternative to a big football head if you don't have that extreme deep water. All right, guys, last but not least, number 4, in the month of June, if you're down south and you knew this one was coming, it is the perfect brother or sister to the football head jig in the month of June. And number 4 is a big, deep diving crankbait, guys, okay? A big, deep diving crankbait. And I really, in the month of June, because it's the onset of summer, I start leaving those shallow and mid-depth crankbaits, right? The square bull that goes 4 or 5 feet, the Berkley dime, the 6, the 10. I start leaving those behind, and I start going to the crankbaits that are going to go 15 feet plus. So, the Berkley dime 15 is a good one. The Berkley Dredger series, a 17, a 20, and so on and so on. Baits that go 15 feet or deeper, I really like these extreme deep divers. Guys, same exact theory as that football jig. These are fish that have spawned, they left those spawning flats and coves, they're moved out to deep water, and these are fish that are stopping on secondary points, main lake points, main river ledges, main lake bluffs, main lake riprap, right? Fish that are in their summer mode. Something special about a crankbait that's down there dredging the bottom, contacting the bottom, right? It's a great imitation of a gizzard shad, of a regular shad, of a bluegill, a crappie, white bass. If you're in Texas, a sand bass. If you're in Louisiana, a tilapia. Great imitation of that. And the main thing I want you to remember is that you always want these deeper crankbaits. This is that Dredge 17. You always want it to dive as deep or deeper than that spot you're fishing. So if you're fishing a shell bar on a main lake point that's 15, 16 feet deep, a 17-foot Berkley Dredge is perfect for it. because it's going to go a little deeper than that, and you really want to contact the bottom and you want to contact the cover. Cane pile, a brush pile, isolated sprig of grass, you want to contact it, okay? So bait number 4 for the month of June, especially down south, a big deep diving crankbait. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this shop video talking about my top 4 baits for the month of June. If you live up north, a fluke and a spinnerbait, hard to beat. If you live down south, a football head jig, a deep diving crankbait on those deeper water areas, hard to beat. If you're in Grass Lake, go punch. Go punch that 3/4, 1 ounce tungsten weight with a beaver, and you're gonna catch a lot of fish. Guys, I hope you're enjoying these shop videos. If you like what you're hearing, do me a favor. It's really important. Subscribe to the channel. Hit that button. If you're already a subscriber, tell your friends about the channel. It's Mike Iaconelli Fishing on YouTube. We're here to hopefully help you catch a few fish and become a better angler. Top 4 baits for the month of June? Give them a try. Bye.